This is the material that we're going to cover in class on Monday, the 27th. We're going to be discussing secondary leading tone chords. They're actually quite similar to the secondary dominants that we already did, so you're going to see a lot of similarities. One of the things that's similar is that both of these chords, leading tones and dominant chords, have dominant function. So in a lot of ways, they share that function. They share the similarity that they're used to emphasize the chord that's coming up, and it works because of their function. Okay? Now, if you remember, we have three different kinds of leading tone chords. We have the regular 7 diminished, we have the 7 fully diminished 7th chord, and the 7 half diminished 7th chord. So when you are using secondary leading tones, you have to decide which type of 7th chord you want. Okay? In a minor key, you're going to always use diminished or fully diminished. Okay? Go back and remember that in minor we can have a chord built on a leading tone or on the subtonic. Okay? And so it's important that on a leading tone chord it was always fully diminished. So that's your only option in a minor key. In a major key though, you can use all three. The diminished 7th chord, the fully diminished 7th chord, or the half diminished 7th chord. Okay? So just try to keep that in mind that when you're using minor, always spell fully diminished, and major, it's your choice if you are writing the part, whether it's fully diminished or half diminished. Okay, so then let's talk about spelling. You're going to ask yourself the same 3 questions for this that you did for secondary dominants, but with just a couple of modifications. So let's say that I want you to spell in the key of D major, a 7 fully diminished 7 of 5. Okay? So the first thing that you're going to do, just like in the secondary dominant chords, is you're going to find the root of the tonicized chord. That's the of chord, of 5. Okay? So in the key of D major, my 5 is A, right? It's A major. I'm actually going to write that over here. A major. Okay? Now, in order to find the 7 diminished of 5, then we go down a major second. What we want to do is pretend this is tonic, so then find what the pretend leading tone would be. Okay? That's a half step down. T to do. So if A is do, T is G sharp. Okay? And then all you have to do is use that note to spell the chord, which in this case you're told is a fully diminished 7th chord. So that would be G sharp, B, D, and F. Now, if you, like many of us, have trouble with sharps and flats on the root note, take it away. GBD is major. Okay? So in order to turn this major chord into a diminished chord, I need to raise the root. Okay? Now, what about G natural to F? G natural to F is a minor 7th, so that would be right. G sharp to F would be a diminished 7th. Okay? So now let's go ahead and do a couple of examples out of the self-test. Open up your books to page 38. This is self-test 17-1. And we're going to do numbers 7, 8, and 9. Okay? So for number 7, it's almost exactly the same example that we just did. In the key of D major, they want a 7 diminished 4/3 of 5. Okay? So we basically have the answer to this one. Let's just review the steps. Find the root of the tonicized chord. That's this one. In D major, that's A. Okay? The T, or the half step down from A, is G sharp. We figured out that you spell it G sharp, B, D, and F, but there's one crucial difference in this one. The 4-3. Remember, that means that it's going to be in third inversion, okay? So the D is going to be on the bottom of your chord. And don't forget to include the key signature, which means you need to write the F natural in there, okay? So the key signature has 2 sharps. You're going to spell this G sharp, B, D, and F natural, okay? Moving on to number 8. In this one, we have a 7 diminished 6 of 5 in F major. 7 diminished 6 of 5 in F major. Step 1, find the root of the tonicized chord. That's the of chord. So 5 would be F, G, A, B flat, C. So it gives us C. Okay? The 7 diminished 6, to get that we need to go down a minor second. So the leading tone for our pretend tonic, which is C, that gives us B. Okay? Now, even if the quality is wrong, you can never change this note. You can't make this a B sharp or a B flat or anything like that, because then you won't have the right relationship between those 2 notes. You can change the accidentals and all the other ones. So now we need to figure out what accidentals we need to make this a fully diminished chord. And it is not a 7th chord, right? It's just a 7 diminished chord. So B, D, and F is in fact our diminished triad. And then it's in first inversion. D is going to be on the bottom. Our key signature has 1 flat. So you need to remember to call it B natural, D, and F. The last example we'll do together. Number 9. This is in the key of A minor. It's a 7 diminished 7, or half diminished 7. Of a major 7. So remember, we said that when we're going to a minor key over here, if this is minor, then it would need to be either fully diminished 7th chord or just a plain diminished. But in this case, we're going to a major chord, so it could be any of those 3. And it is. It is half diminished going to a major chord. Now, some of you may be wondering why we used fully diminished for the 5 instead of half diminished. You can choose either one. It's probably more common to find fully diminished, especially for the 5 chords, okay? But this one is going to a major chord, so it could be either one, all right, for the major 7. So first thing that we need to do is figure out what the root is. So what is the root of 7 in A? This is where you need to remember that crucial difference between leading tone and subtonic. Okay? The leading tone would be different here. We are building on the subtonic to make that major chord, okay? So if we're going to the subtonic, that's a whole step below A, we're building a chord on our tonic. Our tonicized root is G, okay? Now we need to find the minor second below that. That's F sharp. So now we're building our triad using F sharp as our root. Okay, now we need to figure out if we need any other accidentals. F sharp AC is a diminished triad, so we're good there. And then our half diminished means that we need a minor seventh. F sharp to E is in fact a minor seventh. Therefore, we are all set with what we need. In the key of A minor, we have no sharps and flats, so you would just need to spell it like that in root position. Okay? And so next, we're going to discuss identification of secondary leading tone chords.